Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second instalment of my Home Brew Wednesday adventure. It's been a good day today, a busy day, but before we get into all of that, I'm going to crack open a bottle of my very first brew in many years. I have tried this before, so it's not, it's not an unboxing. But look, I've been keeping them up there in the cupboard for about 3.5 weeks, which, look, it's long enough now. I'm going to start slowly getting into them. I don't want to start chugging through them because I want to get a bit of a stockpile up before we start going crazy. But there it is. Nice little smell coming off. The method I used to get started was, it's called the 20-litre stovetop method, I believe. By a bloke called Nick JD. I haven't poured that very well. There's bugger all head on it. The glass is dirty. I cleaned this glass, and it's just not clean. Anyway, let's have a sip. It's a good beer. It's all right. As I said, the 20-litre stovetop method, I'll put the link down below. Really good method for getting involved and seeing how all grain brew in a bag works for not much equipment. The pot cost me $15, 20-litre pot. You need a bag and another little pot, and you can do it on your stove. I did it with an over-the-side element, but whatever works for you. Great way to get involved with all grain brewing if you haven't done it before. This beer, it's okay, and I think I made it a bit hard on myself, actually. It's just, there's nothing that amazing about it. It's just bloody good beer, and I'm going to enjoy this and the rest of them. Anyway, exciting day today. Let me move on. Dry hopping for the very first time. You can see here, I've got my India Black Ale, which I'm really, really excited about. This is the first brew that I did on the urn that I showed you last week, and it is shaping up to be a really good brew. I'll take a little sample here just to take a reading, but also to have another little sneaky taste. Absolutely amazing malt flavours going on there. It's matured even in the last few days, I've noticed. And really excited about what's going to happen. I was a bit scared about dry hopping this one because the malt flavours were so nice. It was such a good sort of beer. And I didn't want to do anything to change it, but I thought, you know what? Nah, stuff it. This is how it's going to go. I researched a lot about dry hopping. And there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people that say, you got to put it in a bag. Some people shouldn't put it in a bag. Some people you got to weigh it down. Some people say just a couple of days. Some people say 3 weeks. Some people say, a gram per litre. Some people say 2. Some people say just chuck 5 ounces in there. So again, we've got this thing, he said, she said, brewer said this, that guy said that. And I thought, you know what, I'm all about minimising the amount of work involved while maintaining quality, as I talked about last week. I'm all about being able to do more with less time and cutting out all the things in between. So you know what I've done, especially now that I'm fermenting in the cube, we've got that little open in there, I've just thrown them straight in. Throw them in. I'm going to leave it for a week. I looked at my How to Brew John Palmer book. I thought I'm going to go back to the source, the textbook roots. They said you leave it in there for, a week to 2 weeks. I'll leave it in there for about a week, I reckon. I'll keep tasting, keep smelling until it gets the way I want it. But just chuck it in there. Who cares? It's not going to wreck the beer. All right, I might get a few floaties in there in the bottle or something like that. That's nothing. I can put it in the fridge for a couple of days and that'll be fine. I thought I'd rather do that than bag it first time, because if it works like this, then I'll keep doing it. But if I bag it first and it works out great, I'm going to be like, oh, do I risk just throwing them in? So I've just gone haphazardly first, go for broke, and if this works out really well, I'm going to keep doing it just purely for the ease factor. But I'm really excited to see how this is going to turn out. Now, there's that. The next thing, fermenting the cube that I spoke about brewing last week. You saw it all squashed in on the side because I squeezed all the air out. Now, I've put it in the fermenting fridge just to get it down to temp. Went to rehydrate my yeast. Now, this is the first debacle of the day. All right. I've sanitized the Pyrex dish. I've boiled the water, poured it in, sanitize the Glad wrap, put it on in the freezer, get it down to temp, measure the temp, sanitizing everything along the way, sanitize the yeast bag, sanitize the scissors, cut it open, delicately sprinkle the yeast into the water, looking really good. I thought I'll be extra good. I'll replace the Glad wrap, go to get some more, and the Glad wrap roll drops right in the Pyrex dish with all my yeast in there, all this sort of stuff. Alarm bells ringing off in my head. This dirty, dirty cling wrap that's contaminated my rehydrating yeast. Now, it's the only yeast that I had. This is almost the only time that I have this week because I'm just going to be run off my feet. I had a look. I had a think. I dug deep. I didn't have to put this in. I hadn't cracked the cube yet. I could have waited. I went for it again. 0 fucks given. Gone for it. Because generally my sanitation processes are really good, and when you have a little mishap, look, I decided to go for it. Would you have gone for it? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you have gone for it, or would you have waited and redone it? You can see here, it's just dropped in. That's what happened. All right, so you tell me, what would you have done? I've gone for it. We'll see how it pans out. Because risking all those hours of work is a big call to make. So I made it. So hopefully I'll be rewarded. Anyway, that was the first debacle. Then I get the cube out and I open it up, and from what I've heard, it's all squished in. I open up the lid to reintroduce oxygen in there, and it should just pop back into shape. No, that did not happen. You can see here, I've taken the lid off, nothing. Okay, maybe I need to work it around a little bit. Nothing. I don't know what to do. Okay, so I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm closing the lid back up, giving it a shake, giving it a push, and just not getting any love whatsoever. It's just not going back into shape. So I figure I put it up against the wall and gave it a good kneeing in order to squish it into this shape. I'll do the same thing to squish it out. So I tried it with the lid on, I tried it with the lid off, I'm squashing it, I can't get enough push on it because, you know, I'm using my feet and pushing on there, and it's just doing my bloody head in, seriously. You know, it's when you pour that hot wort, when you pour it in, it's hot and the plastic becomes malleable. So that's why it pushes in so easily. But it's almost been in that position cold for so long that it's not willing to pop back out. Anyway, I got it to some sort of resemblance of a little bit more headspace in there. And I thought, that's going to have to do. So the next important thing when you're fermenting in the cube is to aerate like it always is. Okay, so I'm shaking, I'm rattling around, getting a real good shake on, because that's what you got to do. Get lots of oxygen in there, and that's what I proceeded to do. Got it in there, got my yeast slurry, open it up, in she goes. Give it a sweet little workaround. Seal her up, put her in the fridge. And this is the other trick, okay, that you can do here. Just unscrew the lid, just so it's kind of loose. It's not going to knock off. It's still sort of got some sort of lock, but it's kind of got a bit of movement, a little bit loose. So you're sort of protecting the entrance, the top, but the CO2 can find its way out, and it will sort of, especially in the first few days, ferment out, and that should be totally safe. So that's very important to do. Don't seal it up. No, just give it a bit of room. Next debacle of the day. So this is they say things come in threes. Next debacle of the day. I forgot to take a sample. So I hadn't taken my OG. I hadn't had a taste, more importantly. So anyway, there it is. I got in there, rushed in, got a cup. You know, guys, I've got that. The yeast was sitting at the top, I figure, so I can take a bit from the bottom. If I'm in a real hurry, I can make it happen. So there you go. There's been my frantic little day. There was something else, just quickly. I don't want to bore anyone too quickly. My thermometer. I didn't have my digital thermometer. I'd run out of batteries. I figure I'll take it apart. Took all the screws out. Open her up. But I don't know what the go was. It's like I'd opened up the entire thermometer and I just see this oozy, silvery, malleable stuff sort of, oh, what's going on there? I'm like, shit, that's mercury. Get that shit in the bin, get that out of here. I don't want to poison anybody. What's going on? So there's been a completely crazy day. That's what happens when you get back into brewing after a long time. I haven't done half of these things even in the past when I was brewing before. So it's all about learning one foot in front of the other, doing these things. The more and more you do them, the more you're going to learn your way of doing it and how you can do it better and bigger and better the next time. And that's what it's all about. That's what we love. We love learning. We love things that, the happy accidents that occur along the way. Oh, by the way, I took a little sample of that IBA. I don't think I've mentioned that yet, so there might be some footage of that here. So I could take a bit of a refractometer sample as well. Oh, it is tasting amazing. I did mention that, didn't I? But seriously, when you get to see me sample that here live, it's going to be, I think that's going to be pay-per-view. That's going to be fantastic. Anyway, thank you for your company once again. Thank you for everyone that's subscribed already. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you for your comments. And look forward to many more. Look forward to watching a lot of other Home Brew Wednesday videos and getting involved in the whole YouTube, BrewTube community. Until next time, until next week, cheers, and see you next week. That's it.